Hey guys, you've got Wicked Lady Hippy at the bar, and it's live. The bar's at my place. Don't have to mess with Uber. Drop in, have a laugh, have a joke. Come on, drop in, grab a drink. Doesn't matter if you're here or not. This is all such a wonderful idea, I think. It's like Social Woodstock. I think I'm a bit loud here. I wear all the hats, so, hang with me, which again is the incentive for the drink. Yeah, I have a headband that slides forward because my earphones slide forward. So, yeah. Background Army veteran, published author, mother of one, grandmother of two. My grandson's also an Army veteran. Yes, I know. I thank you for those compliments. I know I look good for my age. Got live chat up if y'all want to pop in. And I've been told my husband bought me some things already for Valentine's Day, this being one of them. I don't know if you can see there with that camera. It's a lovely watch. And it's kind of like a slinky kind of patch. You just pull. It's cute. So that was lovely to get. And a few other things. I've already got roses and candy and all that stuff. That would be him coming in the door now. I try to put it so it blocks him because he doesn't like to be on. I can't get anybody to be on. They're all afraid of you guys. So you get me. I'm generally not afraid of a hell of a lot. So we have a whole lot to talk about today, but I'm waiting to see which topic you guys want to pop in on. I've been running through a few things. I noticed that we lost a great Chinese actor that I just adored. I loved the series that he was in, and he had a magnificent voice. And so I can't watch because I keep crying. And so that was where I was starting my day off. Charlie Kirk, I also said I would mention every time I got up to do a podcast. We want to know what happened. How come Charlie Kirk is a JFK suddenly? Are we going to wait 60 years to find out? Probably, because they've even paved over where he was assassinated, where he was massacred in front of thousands of kids. I knew him as the prove me wrong guy. I didn't know he had a wife, kids, a big network. I didn't know any of that. So all of that was a shock to me. But I don't know who the hell he stepped on or who he pissed off. But this was a coordinated thing. And if you ask me, his securities was in on it up to they were swimming in it. I can't see how they would have missed the only roof that had access to be able to harm Charlie. It was the only roof. And one thing, one job. And he paid him millions to fucking do it. That's the army slipping through, because if I'd have been there, he wouldn't have been shot. So if you ask me, all of this, there's a conspiracy theory behind it. Was it one bullet? Was it a bomb? Was it this? Was it that? He was shot. Then it was a 30-06. His granddaddy's World War I rifle had a scope. I'm assuming that was an improvement. I don't know. I call him the little furry dude. I haven't heard anything about it now in about 2 months. At first, all of us were up here talking about it, wanting to know why the FBI wasn't doing more. And then the FBI said they turned it over to Utah. But when you have the VP as one of your pallbearers, you want to know what the shit's going on. They flew him back home to put him to rest in Air Force Two. And the vice president and second lady were on board. So I'm just flabbergasted as what's happened, how fast and they managed to cremate him, which he was a Christian. That's not done by most Christians. I was raised Catholic, kind of tend toward Christianity, but I don't believe in organized religion because, well, Jesus told us there was going to be a whole lot of false prophets and a whole lot of false churches. And I don't really have a magic wand that says, hey, these guys aren't real. This dude is real over here. So I don't believe in none of them. I believe in the Bible. And that's been proven beyond a doubt what's in the Bible. Most of it. I'll at least go with, actually, no, Old and New Testament, they proved them. It's amazing what archaeology does. That was the other thing I was going to touch base on today. May Charlie Kirk's memory be a blessing. Amen. I was going to reflect on the fact that the sleeping prophet, Mr. Edgar Casey, and I just loved everything he ever did. He had over 4,000 readings. He was told to stop, slow down. He was going to die if he didn't. It was during World War II. He passed away just before the surrender was accomplished. because he kept giving the readings because the people wanted to know if their children were alive and so forth. And so he kept doing it. In any event, they did a really good thing. There's the Virginia Beach Enlightenment Center that was started, I believe, even before he passed away, but I'm not positive. But check into Mr. Casey, the sleeping prophet, if you don't know about him already. And he forecast many things that are going on. Things are just getting freaking biblical. Just So I'm like, okay. He said this gonna happen, that's gonna happen. Jesus said this gonna happen, that's gonna happen, and bing, bada, boom. I saw camels swimming and floating by the camera. Camels were they in the desert. They were in the desert. There was this hole in one of the sand dunes, and it looked like a fire hydrant. Taking the cap off, you know how those used. If you're my age, we used to get to play in those. They don't do that anymore. In any event, it's this big round hole, water spewing out with abundant pressure, and apparently one of the waddies got full, and there went the camels. I mean, so I thought I saw everything when I saw a camel float by. I mean, that's a tricky thing. That's a riddle me Batman kind of thing. It was like, okay, did anybody else notice this? I'm assuming no one did because they didn't get any feedback on that. So, by the way, ladies, I was adopted, raised by a generation of World War IIers, Depression era. They were World War One, and so the ladies would, if they wanted something to drink, they would have what they called a stiffener because they'd pretend to pass out. And I say pretend because they never hit a floor. And the men, of course, would say, "Oh, I'll get her a stiffener," and it was whatever you could find in the either above the sink, where kids had to climb on ladders to get to it, or the portable bar, which would stay in my parents' room back then. And they'd get these little drinks, and they'd be okay after two or three of them buddies. Me too. Tom. It looks like I'm drinking a lot. I like my whiskey on ice. Me most, I'm cheating. And so here's my little thing. My husband buys me these little whiskey fireballs. And I don't know about y'all, but when I was a kid, we used to get these big cinnamon gum. Well, they were, we called them gums, but I don't know what it was called nowadays. But they were the big chewable things, and it took a while because it couldn't just chew it. You had to suck on it a while. And I always got the cinnamon one, which would go, it's like a ball of fire in there. And that's what this does at the end of the shot. It gives you that rush of cinnamon. And it's so great. I love that. And yeah, I'm kind of, if I'm going to have something to drink, I want something to drink. I don't I don't want no piss ass beer that says there's no alcohol in it. I'm not driving. I want something with the alcohol in it. That's why I'm here. Excuse me. That's why we have a bar at home. We're retired. So I think we've earned that part. He certainly has. We've been married well over 30 years. Kids are grown, grandkids grown. I got one granddaughter who's 13 and headed to 41 on the fast track. I mean, kids kill me. They really do. I have a lovely little brooch on, but it keeps getting lost. I like the scarf, but it's really driving me crazy at the moment. So I told my husband I was going to pop in here live today. I'd been missing a few days. So I had those things going on. In Egypt, as I started to mention with Mr. Casey, I'm sorry, I got sidetracked. He had predicted that we would find the Atlantean records beneath the Sphinx's right paw. And they actually did find something. It was back in 97, 98, I think. Zahi Hawass was, yes, I don't like that man. There's several, I just don't like him. He's so mean to the people around him. He's just an uncouth little barbaric bunion. He's just to be nice. Well, no one's been in here before. The camera comes in there. There's all kind of hoses and stuff because they're trying to evacuate the water. And well, we can open and you can see this door here. And it's got this rusted handle, but it's apparently still working. So they've got the door open. And you're looking down at about 4 or 5 feet of rushing water. That's not going to do no good for you wanting to go that way. And they thought that by this point there was probably nothing in there but water. Didn't hear another thing about it. I think it was sightings that was there, but I'm not sure it was the 90s. That's a good decade. The 80s was better, but that's another story. It's a good story, though. Yeah, yeah. The age of sex, drugs, and rock and roll, and my generation still hasn't lost that. Hence the name Hippy in the title. Wicked is my army nickname, and it followed me throughout the rest of my life. Thank you to my captain. Even my son used it. I quit smoking. My husband allows these little cigars, my little cigarillos, when I'm up here because I tend to enjoy them up here, and I won't go back to smoking. That my family fusses about that, but these go out whenever I'm talking, and since I'm up here, that's what I'm bloody doing is talking. Listen, if you want to chat, comment, hit the like, hit the button. It's for entertainment purposes only. Unfortunately, I do not make any money doing this. Not that I'm adverse to making money doing this. It'd be quite fine by me. The microphone's just falling down. I still seem to be a bit too loud. I've tried doing it without the headphones, and it turns out I do sound completely different if I'm using the headphones. And so right now I'm trying to be in the picture and make some sense to everybody. But okay, so we've gone past that discovery under the Sphinx. And again, of course, the Casey Foundation in Virginia Beach is actually the ones who paid for Sahi Hawass to get college, from what I understand. They never paid him back. Jerk. I mean, that's some shit there now, and he's been their antiquities director for decades. And he's an awesome little shit, as I think some people ought to say. I'd heard he retired. I was praying he had. But we all wanted to know because Mr. Casey had said that we would find the Atlantean records. Now, Atlantis existed. There's just no part of it. You can't deny that. When I was growing up and interested in archaeology, history, and so forth, you had to go to 3 libraries, get 40 books, and find a paragraph, maybe a drawing in each one, maybe, to find out about the Inca, the Maya, the Sumerians, all of this. And at the time, it was still a myth, still a myth, still a myth. The bridge that the monkeys built, that was still a myth, still a myth. They found it. Dwarka, the city that was occupied by their god, it was there. When the waters finally did recede, there was Dwarka. So that was true. So I think that maybe sometimes everybody ought to take things with a sense of, hey, that's history. And that may be the facts now. Maybe this isn't just a rumor. So they found through this new type of imaging, through satellites like LIDAR on the ground, well, in an airplane, that can see through everything. And beneath the entire Gaza Plateau, this is a very big footprint. I'm telling you guys, this isn't just, one pyramid. This is the Gaza Plateau. It's big, there's a lot to it. And there's an entire city beneath Gaza. Now, I don't know who's explored it yet. I've just seen some of the pictures. I don't know if they can get in. If they've got in, they need to get in there. Those records are there. If you look now across time and place, you find pyramids everywhere. I don't care if the Chinese put trees on them, they still pyramids. It's kind of like putting lipstick on a pig. It's not, it's still a fucking pig. So I wonder why there isn't a team from every nation. Well, of course, England did that bit back in the 1800s, and so they don't care to have. And I can't say I blame them, but they could oversee these or do them themselves and tell us what's down there. Get your booming butts down there and tell me what's down there. I know Mr. Casey said that we would find the Atlantean records. Now, I didn't know I was going to live past the 21st century. I thought I'd be checking out somewhere in the 90s. I planned on getting my son to 18. I got to go. My whole generation was like that. We just didn't think we were going to live that long. God has a sense of humor. So, there's been a lot of archaeological things spotted. And see, was it Guatemala? I believe it was Guatemala. They think they found at least 60,000 pyramids. We say that again, 60,000 pyramids. These people were not just farmers, hunter gatherers, working with flint and stone. Sorry. Uh, Something else is going on here. There's obviously a worldwide civilization, and there's parts that are missing. Now, if we got hit, say, if Yellowstone exploded, and it may, they have now found three lava chambers, not just the one big one at the top. That's nice to know. That would be an ELE event, and then an extinction of life event. And what would we be able to do if there might be pockets of people here and there, and you might end up in the mountains and so forth? How do you make your clothes? Walmart's gone. They're not buying them from Japan anymore. How do you get your food? Walmart is not there. How do you make a phone call? Well, you don't. How can you make that system work again? The hell if I know. I don't even know where the battery is in that bitch. I'm just saying, civilization reset. Now, as far as like the dinosaurs, I don't think that was an extinction event. I think that was an extermination event. I used to call this the prison planet because if you wanted to get off Earth, you would have to be able to create a spaceship. And we couldn't do that. We didn't even have a phone until, late 1800s, early 1900s. No television. They had, I think, some radio. Then there's the Marconi, which was your form of Morse code, all that to get back and forth. So you could have that. But that's not very good. Although it worked pretty well in the Civil War, I gotta say. I was born and raised in Chicago, so I'm a damn Yankee because I live in Augusta, Georgia. For those of you who'd like to stop by the bar, you can send me an email to Wicked, and you'll find me, or throw it in the comments and I'll get back to you. Pop on in, have a drink, let's talk. This is some funny shit going on. And, oh, that's so good. I love that. It doesn't taste like it's alcohol, which is probably a problem. Mm. So, a lot of things that are going on that are, I'm sorry, but you can't have any music in the background that can be heard. And no, when this song comes on, it's belted out so you can hear it. I try to talk over it. At first, I thought, I always had the music in the back. It's a bar. And I have TV going on, so I just would flip to music on YouTube. I still do, but I try to make sure that nobody else can hear it while I'm on live because they don't like that either. So there's a lot of stuff they don't seem to like for us to be actually having freedom of speech. I love what's happening to Minneapolis, Somalians. Of course, we'll never get that $30 billion back. Yeah, they're saying $9 billion. Get a grip. These jerks were running around in Ferraris, Lamborghinis, etc., planes, boats. I don't even mean a boat. It's a yacht. The planes are more than most people could afford to buy a ticket for. They owned them because they just went up and paid them in cash. And they literally paid them in cash. I'm loving the ones that are going through the airport like they always have, and their suitcase has $6 million. I know now how much cash you can put in a suitcase. They were letting them go right on through there, and then they went to Dubai, and then that currency could be sent wherever. So we've been funding terrorists in two locations. We don't want to forget the tunnel system that we built in Gaza, which is actually better than and more bigger than the London Underground. And I've been there, done that, and oh my God. Why do you have that here in the United States? So, yeah. So you've had those, and we've been supporting whatever one is in Somalia. I can't think off the top of my head. And I love the new cartoons that they have. They have the little cartoon with the Giggle Girl, the former vice president, whatever is. I can't think of her name. I always call her the Giggle Girl. And President Trump are sitting there, and I can't believe you did this, and he's like, I can't believe you can do this, and but you can't do that, and he's always right. It's fucking funny. If you see it, it's on the shorts on YouTube. You got to pick that up. It's like The Simpsons. Looks like the same uh, drawer, producer of the. I mean, because it kind of reminds me of that. So I'm thinking maybe that's who they've got that from. So that's always fun. So whenever I need a laugh, I buzz on over to the shorts on YouTube and watch as they take them back, and they're all, I pay cash. I pay cash. I have many dear. You know, no, I have this for the children. I have this for the children. You got to take our food to the children? No, you didn't either. There's a bus over there. There was a whole fleet of SUVs in front of one supposed daycare, which had never had anybody in it. Nor had the vehicles been moved. They rusted there. So they had all these vehicles. They didn't even use them. They found out, I guess, that they could get these. They could get the high end ones, take them to their homes that mansions. Yeah. Well, if you can take 6 million in cash and put it in a suitcase and go to the airport, you fucking have some money you all ought not to have. And I don't understand why the politicians and the so forth and so on that knew this was going on. There are witnesses that can tell them they've been funneling this cash for a decade. Why aren't they in jail for treason, for aiding and abetting, stealing? I don't know what the hell they call it, but it ain't right. I'm just saying. If you're wondering why you only get me talking about nonsense, it's because I really hate to put somebody else's video up unless I'm asked to. As a published author, it just seems like I'm stealing somebody else's work or something. So I don't like to do that, but I will if you tell me that's what you want to see. I figure most of us have already seen it. So I don't feel a need to, like I said, throw them up there. If you want to do I don't even know what they call them now. So it's been so long. I had to take a year off. I had a massive injury, and I had to take a year off because I couldn't walk. I couldn't get up. I couldn't even, I was a mess. So for a year, I was bedridden. God, I love that, right? I had to hide the fucking bullets. It was ridiculous. So it was a bad year, and I had to open a second channel, and I'm not finding those that have my other channel. So I do this live. I generally do not edit it, so you can always zoom through the bad parts if you like. See a cat in the background. People keep throwing them against our house. We have a cul-de-sac. We've always had chows, chow husky, and after our last one passed away, we said no more animals. We have one cat, and she'd been with us 13 years. She's still here. She's barely kicking it. Bless her. She's 14 years old now. That's a long time. And so we said, no more. Turns out we now have like 12 in the house and like probably 12 outside or 14. And this happens every end of the summer. You'll have there's two or three females. We can't catch them unless we use catch and release. And I just can't bear to do that. I just can't, because this is a kill shelter here. I've thought about opening an NGO because everybody makes money doing that. I don't know how, but they do. We spend quite a lot to feed them twice a day. They also get wet food mixed into their dry food, and it's changed up so that they're not eating the same thing just like ours. They get a lot of leftovers from ours, I gotta admit, but they eat everything. And I make sure they're watered, but they're watered, they're fed twice a day. And since it's so cold that we have lost during the hurricane, even though I was broken in many, many pieces and scheduled for surgery on the day the hurricane hit, turned the city of Augusta out, completely out, upside down out, couldn't walk around, couldn't drive around. Couldn't get to nowhere. There's so many trees down. We were very fortunate with several trees down. Didn't hit any of our neighbors. Didn't hit anything of ours but our hot house, which broke my heart. My husband put that there for me 5 years, maybe 6 years ago, and he put a wood floor in there for me and shelves, and I just loved my hot house. And I loved having plants. I love plants. And so that was killing me. So he run out and he come back. The only thing he find, because it was dipping into the cold after that. and he put up it was a tent, basically one of them nice little plastic tents, but he put two heaters in there, and he put shelving in there and a table in there, and got what he could salvage of my plants and put them in there. And I was already broken when that hit, so I couldn't do anything. So it was really great what he did for me, because I had no idea even what could be saved and what couldn't. So he did great in saving so many. And so for summer and spring, I got to have a lot of my plants out there. I could sit outside. He would have to help me out. I, when it first happened to me, I found that even though you've used crutches before, being regular army, I have used crutches a couple of times. We'll say that one. And this time they gave me the crutches, and I went, "What? Oh! God, catch me!" because I couldn't stand there, and you couldn't put weight on it for a year almost, and then therapy and all that. So I have so much metal in my leg that when I go to the airports, airports, I hear whistles and lights go off. People start running. It's just me. We have a small airport that I pass every time I go to the VA, which is again, it's like 5 miles. Turn around, come home. I don't travel 50 miles a month. If I didn't enjoy driving so much and not having to depend on anything, I would have already quit driving and sold my car, because it's a lot. It's expensive to run a car. And my husband drives his truck. He needs his. He uses his, but I generally don't. He'll use my car for little things. I have a little Chevy Cruze. I call her Kit. And I try. Robert says she's not a 6 cylinder. She's a 4 cylinder. You can't just play Earnhardt when you're going to the store. I have a need for speed, as they say. So yeah, I'm thinking about it though. Insurance, the best quote we got from insurance was 149. We're like, our cars are 20 years old or more. We've never had a ticket. I've never had nothing on my license. Why do I have to pay that much per year? You don't give me a dime back. You're talking a couple $1,000s a year for 50 years from the two of us. We haven't gotten a dime back yet. How about you take, oh, they paid 40, 50 years. They get a year off. We'll move some of the money, they say. No, that's just their money because it might have happened. Well, it fucking didn't happen. Give me my damn money. Why isn't there somebody up there in Congress saying that shit? Well, probably because Congress don't do shit. I like Senator Kennedy. He's got a great sense of humor. I just love when he talked about folks. The Somali situation is funny when I'm listening to him, or to the little cartoon that they have out of Trump and whatever her name was, the giggle girl. So I thought we might throw that in there if anybody wants to talk about that. I don't know what the hell's happening in New York. I kind of turned New York off when they decided to go socialist. That's treason. We started a war over that back in, it was the 1860s. Oh wait, yeah, it fucking was. Fort Sumter fired that shot out of South Carolina. Bam, we were at war for 4 years. Literally, brothers killing brothers. I don't know what's wrong with humanity, mankind, but I wish they'd knock it the fuck off. Just what? In today's world, people running around with rifles, killing folk, shooting up schools, shooting up McDonald's. Started off for my generation. Somebody went postal. We still use that phrase. For us, it was one of the first mass shootings. And of course, it was the post office. So we called it going postal. And now it's just unbelievable. The Las Vegas shooting at an outdoor concert. It's amazing to me that no more than the ones that no more died. It was amazing to me. It really, really was. My husband's sniper trained. I'm not sniper trained, but if I had had that firepower and that view, and I wanted to kill anything that moved, they wouldn't have moved a second time. So I think it was a horrific incident, but it could have been ungodly, even more so. So there was some angels working overtime out there. There was some guardian angels working real hard to see that no more died. I know everybody thinks that was a big number, and it was. Don't let me belittle that. It was a horrific number between the dead and the wounded and so forth. But it could have been 100 times worse. It had been somebody up there who had training with weapons. This guy had a ton. He had so many weapons. He could have gone to war for a week out there. He could have been changing guns so fast that hundreds would have died in 10 minutes had he meant to do that. So yes, it was horrific, but it could have been worse. I watched as there was a school shooting and the cops were there and they didn't go in. They kept yelling, go in. They still didn't go in. Shots being fired. They don't go in. They were out there outside of the school for about an hour, I think, before they went in. This was a grade school. These were kids. They weren't even high school kids. A couple of teachers, couple of kids were just killed outright. It boggles the mind that somebody gets up and says, I have to kill kids today. It boggles the mind for me to understand that people still want abortion when they understand that what abortion is going into a live baby and using a chainsaw or what have you to pull it apart alive. That's what an abortion is. They go and they cut it up. I gave up my career almost because I wanted my child. I did not expect children and all kinds of protection, and God decided I'd have a boy, and I love him dearly and my grandkids. But it changed the direction of my life, and I don't really have a problem with that. It just did. So when you make those plans, guys, sometimes somebody steps in and goes, you got to go a little bit further left, you got to go a little bit further right, but you'll be okay in the end. I'm still waiting for that burn. So we got that in. I was watching police on paranormal events that they had caught on body cams. And I said, I got to see this. It's police. The first one I caught, there was a woman, they got out because a woman hit a telephone pole. She was still in her car. Window music blaring, and she's kind of seat dancing. And the cops said, "Din, din, din, din. Can you roll your window down?" She rolls it down like this much. Hi, thank you very much. And she rolls the window back up. She does this 3 or 4 times. And the cops going, lady, oh, lady, you hit a pole. We need to see if you're all right. Are you intoxicated? That kind of thing. If you don't get out of the car, we're going to have to pull you out of the car, kind of thing. Oh my goodness. So I mean, I don't know, pepper sprayed her, tased her, shot her in the knee, drug her out, face planted her in the concrete. Now shut the hell up, put your hands behind your back. I wouldn't play that game. They talk and talk and talk and talk. Uh really? No. These people know that what they've done is illegal, what they've done is wrong. No. That's why they're doing this. Get your supervisor. I got your supervisor. You get. So it wouldn't do for me to be an officer. But this woman gets out of the car finally. And I say, we need to check you to see if you've been drinking. So I want you to watch my finger and only move your eyes to follow it. Don't move your head, just your eyes. This girl's eyes went to the side. Both eyes went to the side. And he's, lady, you got a lazy eye in there or something? It's dark. No, I'm fine. So he gets, and before he even starts off, her eyes go straight in to the middle of her nose. And at this point, he's like, there's 2 of them. He's like, did you see that, dude? I don't think this is working, ma'am. She says, okay, you're blowing it. She hadn't blown in that yet. And he says, okay. So how many ever seconds? Just blow, blow, blow. She's blow, blow, blow. And she says, okay. And he's like, it's a 5.3 or something. You'd be dead if you were that drunk. And so he shows the other officer going, what the hell is this? Meanwhile, she's talking and walking back and forth and this kind of thing. And they're trying to see who she is. It's not coming up on their computers. And so, and they're trying to see how sober she is. They know she's not. He says, I think there's something wrong with the machine, but let's try it again. So she blows, and again, and this time I think it's like six something. And he says, I really, I don't understand. And she says, well, what number do you want? He said, what? What number do you want? I can give it. And she blew again. She grabbed it. She blew again. It's like 1.26. Is that better for you? And the guy's going, oh my God. But at this point, they're not confused. They're freaked out. So they go over. He says, stay here. I'm going to talk to my partner. I'll be right back. Just stay right there by the car. It's her car that she smashed in the pole. This is all taking place in less than like 4 minutes, taking longer to say it. So they're talking and they look over. This broad has levitated off the ground from the side of the car where she was at. And she's got her feet down kind of like this, but she's floating down the edge of the car out and almost, like almost in their direction, but a little off. And they're yelling, get down. Get your ass down. I'm thinking, oh, fuck no. No, I wouldn't have messed with that broad for nothing. You couldn't have paid me enough. And so, of course, she kind of gets down and they said something else. And they're starting this time both to go toward her. And she just off in the air and disappears. And just about that time, they get it back that the car that they've called in was in an accident 3 years prior, and the driver had died, which was her. It was her identification. They still had it. It was her. She had died. She was reported dead at the scene 3 years prior. These guys ran back in the car and left. I don't know if they kept the driver's. I think the driver's license they threw in. There was another one. It's a female officer. She stopped an SUV and asked for license and registration. And the girl said, I'll have to pull the license up. It's on my phone. People, please, just get the copy of the damn thing. Hands her the registration. And the cop goes, and there's no one there. And they are like in New Mexico. Nothing but flat ground for 100 miles in any direction. And all she did was take this paper, turn and say, this registration is, and that girl was gone. It was less than a second. Gone. They never found out any information on that woman or the vehicle that she was in. Nothing came up. Nothing. That was spooky too. I love those two. But there's been other ones. So if you get a chance and you're wondering about it, go check those. They're funny as hell too. If you like watching cops scream and run. Actually, I'll mention one more. There was two cops that pulled up. People called in, lots of screaming out in the woods. Da, da, da. It's kind of surrounded by a small pond. And they get out and they're going down the gradient toward the level of forest area. And this scream belts out. These guys did not hesitate. They had turned and run. One of them nearly fallen on his face. He was scrambling up the bank. And they got in their cars, turned around, and left. They squealed tires, left. They didn't go see who was screaming at all. They just ran and left. I wonder what the report said. That's just another one that I like. I've been checking into these shadow critters. My son ran into one. We had inherited my husband's mother's home, and we were there renovating it before we moved to here, and which is Augusta. This was in it was Lower Macon, below Warner Robins Air Force Base, and I used to work there too. So I mean, we live right at the base here. One exit from the base. I've always lived next to the base. Don't ask. So since I was 17, we were the first women in the military. Well, the WAC Corps was phased out, the Women's Auxiliary Corps. And when we landed, we didn't land in Fort McClellan, Alabama for WAC training. We landed in Fort Jackson, South Carolina for regular Army training. And RCOs and so forth and drill sergeants were airborne rangers. They were Vietnam airborne rangers. This was the 70s. Yes, I'm not as young as I look. Thank you very much. Yeah. If you're going to see something about maybe what it was like, check out Private Benjamin with Goldie Hawn. She had my part. I do have a bit of advice, although it's changed a lot now. I went in with rank. Most of us go in to the military, you're a buck private. You don't even have a chevron. You're just a trainee. So you don't really even a private. You're just a buck private. You're a trainee, and I have rank. So you would think that'd be great, and it's not bad on your check. However, when somebody screws up, you get the shit. In the military, shit rolls up, not down. Well, you need to fix this bitch. I'm like, oh, fuck. So, yeah, it was like that. And I could type at that time on even a manual typer 60 words a minute without any errors. That was the highest you could pretty much go. But I mind everyone in typing, I used to teach it as well. You can only type as fast as you can read. So a lot of people do not read at that speed. And when we got the electric typewriter, oh, I was in heaven. And then we got the electric typewriter that was correctable. Oh, still in heaven. I was doing 147 words a minute without any errors. And then I met my ex mother in law and was working in DC, major position in DC. With that, we were creating the food stamps that people used, back in the old days when you had the funny money, the monopoly money, we called. But my mother-in-law put that together, and I worked with her on that, and a few other big projects. My husband and I also worked before the Georgia Fairgrounds were built. We were there building it, so we were right on the ground floor. We went up until its 20th anniversary, and after that, we was like, "No, I'm good. I'm done with going to the fair." And it was so expensive too, and I wanted everything in every booth. So, but yeah, we've been in places where we've made a difference as far as we felt. There were no female fighter pilots when I went in. There were no female firefighters when I went in. We were expected, especially in the military at that time, we were expected to be secretaries and nurses, and that's it. You didn't have a bunch of things you could do. You were a nurse or you were a secretary, or you could be both. I was both. So that's the way it was. And every time I saw that, once we knocked that door down, it got better and better. And it's almost like saying yes, the women can vote. But then I heard that they were not treating people or women as if they should be equal anymore. We did everything that the men did. We did it better. Men can't clean. They can't really dance, most of them, which is the same thing as parade. Cavalcades, march, all that. We took all that honors on those, but we worked hard. We didn't sleep. We didn't rest. Most of it didn't get to church. I used to go play pool on Sundays just to get away from everybody and give a chore and take off. Yes, we still had to polish our boots back then. They would measure your breast to make sure it was regulation 1 inch from here, what have you. Your breast was inspected every morning by your drill, your CO, whoever. So every day and every night you were polishing these things. You were getting your uniform ready for the next day. Even if it was fatigues, they were starched, they were perfect, the boots were shined, yada yada. Nowadays, I understand they actually train in tennis shoes. I wouldn't want them in my foxhole. I'm sorry. No. No, I'd have to say, yeah, nah, try down there. Which is really funny when you consider that, like I said, we were the first women to train. And of course, we had to be taught how to throw a grenade. And they have fake grenades to teach you. But they ended up with a live one eventually. And I went in the first time. And I said, look, guys, I'm a smart ass. There's a story about the wicked and why my CEO called me that, being from Chicago. I said, y'all need to step on out of here because I highly doubt I'm going to get this right. It's a fake grenade. It's okay. It's like, yeah, I know, but could you? No, we have to see it. I said, look, I was picked last for softball every time. Y'all need to go ahead and practice getting out while I'm doing it. But I ended up being pretty good at it, which is surprising. I'm 5'2". I was like 98 pounds when I was in. I was 98 pounds my whole life until recently. Now I love it. Although my husband calls me fat. It's because he knows I have bullets, so he usually does that as he's on his way out the door. It's like I told him, I like it. I like being something like this. I asked my closet today, I was like, I have to get online today and go do my podcast. What you got in there for somebody who's 60 and wants to look good? The fucking door slammed shut. I was like, guess they don't want to answer that question this morning. I figured that shit out on my own. I wonder who's in my closet. Sorry. I'm trying to figure out too why my husband is early for Valentine's. He's never early for anything. There's an actual betting pool that he'll be late for his own funeral. He will. I call his nickname, I call him running late. He's a Native American, what they call a card carrying Native American. His lineage is proven. So, and he's from the chieftain line. They're cute. They used to say I was Native American after I was found when I was 30 because I think I mentioned I was adopted. Yeah, not so much. I'm British. No native. Yeah, I'm not American. No Native American. Stuck in the wool British. Mainly British, a little bit of Scots, a little bit of Irish thrown in there, which basically is fucking Britain. Okay, I've been there. And I laughed about it because I've read, well, strawberry blonde hair, because, well, now I have gray. I'm not sure what they're calling it now. It's so gray. But then I look at nieces and nephews who are 15, 20 years younger than me. They're bald and gray, or they're gray and balding. So I can't fuss. There's still some color in here, so we're gonna work that. I make this shit look good. And then my husband, he's so funny about that. He's like, "Why are you wearing your perfume? You're only being seen." I was like, "I don't wear perfume for other folk. I wear perfume for me. That's why I get it. Otherwise, it just sits there. What's the point?" He says, you've got too many clothes. You have 3 closets already. I was like, yeah, but that's not for you to decide. I decide when I have too many clothes. You're not wearing them. Get out. We now have separate bedrooms. He had moved back in the bedroom with me when I was so badly injured because I literally couldn't get up. I could take 6 steps with the crutches, which put me in the bathroom, and I could hold things as far as I could go without the wheelchair. I could make the 6 steps where he would pull the wheelchair in, but the wheelchair was kind of wide. It wasn't like some of the newer ones, an older one. It's hard to get around the house. And you should see me trying to mop and sweep my house from a wheelchair, which tells you, yes, men cannot clean. They say that, and I think that's true. I knew my husband has only 2 brothers and a sister left. They're fast approaching 80. And I think someone has always done the work for him. We put a new light up over the bar because we had one of those hanging, like like the one behind me, and except it didn't have the fan, but it's exactly the same lamp. But everybody's got that lamp, and this thing, there was something wrong with it. Every time heat or air, whatever, kicked on, it would just blink, 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 and go dark. And I kept telling my husband, I was like, you need to go up there and do something. Put your electrician hat on. So where are you up there? This place catches on fire. I'm throwing you in it. So, we have fire safes and stuff so that weapons and bullets and things don't go off while the firemen trying to put the bitch out, keep the records in there and so forth. But we didn't do that until our 60s. Yeah, I know. We make it look good, I'm telling you. But I see I'm almost out of time, so I've been up here talking. Social Woodstock, guys, it's free. It's time we get up here and talk. I think that there should be a problem with what Minneapolis has pulled off for years. Years. I saw 4 episodes where they were given 25, 30 years, exceptionally, of some that they had brought in that were fraudulent, saying that they had daycare centers, but they didn't, or they just had buildings that were empty. I don't know, but that they had stolen so many millions of dollars and they were going to jail. And then once their jail term ended, they would be sent back to Somalia, and they were all going, "Send me back to Somalia, send me back to Somalia. I don't want to be here." One smart ass bastard got up there and said, "You have made this country has always prospered by stealing from others. But when I steal a little bit of money, you got a problem." I was like, oh God, let me shoot him. Send him to fucking Texas and make sure he gets the firing squad. You can have either one now. You can have the firing squad, you can have the needle. I don't think he should have had a choice, but and then and these people that are attacking ICE, oh, they got to defend. I think they should be put on a plane with a parachute and their little hijab and the scarf thing they're wearing while and dump their ass over that country. See how fast they get killed. I bet it's like 0.9 seconds. And the women will be stoned to death because you're going to see their hair. And I'm like, you people have to know this. I know people have TVs, or whatever they want to call them now. It's there. There was a young lady murdered last year because she did not want to hide who she was in the big black, whatever they call it. The British call them letter boxes because they got just that screen there over their eyes. And she didn't want to wear it anymore, and she didn't want to cover her head anymore. It's like 140 out there. The guys aren't doing that. They got the women in black where they couldn't breathe, they couldn't do nothing. Had to have 5 escorts that were male, and the men could kill them at any time. I mean, the brother, the father, the sons, the husband, anybody could kill them in vicious, awful, horrific ways. Honor killings. They were honor, and this has happened in the United States. It's happened in Great Britain. So it's like, yeah, put them on a plane, shove them out. But they're like ice when they get back, if they do. That is if they get back. Then I've seen some of the Somalians that they did deport. I don't know if y'all seen this, but YouTube's got it all, or Google. And I've seen those, and I laughed till I cried. You're here fucking us over and telling my country how fucking bad it is while you have free food, you have millions of dollars that you've stolen, you live in a mansion, you drive a Lamborghini, and you're going to still sit the fuck up there and call me a racist bitch? Fuck you. I wouldn't have given you a ticket, bitch. I'd have thrown you on a C2, given you a parachute, and kicked you out the back door after I pepper sprayed you, tased you a few times. Get out. Again, they frown on these things. But in my head, it'd be kind of like payback. I've seen it. And these bitches go run out there. You can take my car. You can take my car. Watch me, bitch. That's my job. Get back. We're enjoying the fuck out of that. I saw 2 male Somalis who were pleading, please let me come back. Of course, they can never come back. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Mr. Trump, President Trump. I call him Donnie. I love that. When he hit this time, he did the right thing. He listened to Barron, and Barron said, you should be on the podcast. I had not watched any of what they call now the legacy media, with stupid fucking lying bitches with their own opinions. It's news. We don't need your fucking opinion. If we wanted your fucking opinion, you could do a podcast like this, and we could just not watch you. So, since your network is so stupid, that instead of doing the news, they got to do politics while they're lying through their fucking ass. Who's going to watch you? Oh, it turns out my kid, his kids. It's so indoctrinated. And I was shocked in particular at my grandson. And he believed all this. He was great. We would finish each other's sentences. He went to Korea. He come back. He turned into one of these weirdos. He started screaming at me in my house. He knows that's enough to... You don't yell at grandma, period. And you sure as fuck don't yell at grandma in her own house. And he moved back a year or so because he stayed with me the first year after he got out of the Army. He just missed it. He had left Korea just ahead of them closing everything down on the pandemic. So he stayed with me a couple of years. And this was just, he had stopped by. We were talking. I forget what it was he wanted to do. He was picking up something, borrowing something. and went to yelling at me about how bad Trump was and this, that, and the other. It's like, that's a fucking lie, dude. You know that's a fucking lie. Oh no, it's not. It was on CNN, and they had, well, right there, you're fucking off. you know, go look at the clips themselves. Don't listen to somebody telling you what their view is, because that's not the news anymore, and you knew that before you left. It hasn't been the news in over 20 years, most of his life. And this kid used to finish my sentences. I used to go to all the things at school. His teachers and I got along. They would tell him, it's a good thing your grandma is who she is because you are an A in history, which helped him graduate. But, and then he comes back and he's that Trump is, he needs to be removed. He lied. He stole the election. He did. It's like, fuck all, man. Where the fuck is your mind? We had weekend at fucking Bernie's for 4 years. The Easter Bunny had to show the little fuck how to get back off the White House Rose Garden lawn to where he was supposed to go. No, they just did. I was like, who the fuck are you? And are they feeding my grandson? Because I don't know this thing. And then the screaming started. And I stood up. And my husband was in the kitchen. He was listening. And he heard that. And he saw me stand up. And that man moved. He got right there. And he told my grandson, he said, you need to apologize to your grandmother right now or I'm going to turn her loose. So he did. He apologized. And I reminded him, I said, I love you dearly, but you don't scream at me. You don't point a finger at me. And you don't bow up at me. Because what happened one time you did do that. He said, Grandpa slapped the piss out of me. I thought I actually lost consciousness, but then I was away. Don't do that. I don't care what you think. It's fun because they think people who are of a certain age, they don't have no balls left. Oh, the fuck we don't. We got more of them because we have bail money. We got better insurance. So kids, don't bow up at your parents. It will fuck up your probably whole year. For me, it was. Like I said, you have to keep lighting it. So my time is almost up, guys. And just to see, I'll pop in and say whatever's on my mind. And of course, drinking probably isn't the best thing for that. Sometimes they may pull it, sometimes they don't. If you see me, if you've got a chance, I know with mine, I could do it on my Fire TV, but I can't do it on my other TV, my Roku. Just haven't signed in. So if you can, hit the like, hit the bell even. I usually tell everyone I'm on between 12 and 4. I try. And I don't do weekends anymore. And I'm afraid that the injury that I sustained, even though I am now on my legs, I still, and I never will completely recover from that. And so some days they're worse than others, and I may not be on that day if I have some problems. So it's a new year. Valentine's is almost here. I hope everybody's ready for that. Gentlemen, like I said, the husband he's fast with these things. I can't never. It's quite lovely, though, isn't it? I'm hoping I can do a screenshot of that and try to post you onto Facebook. Guys, and once again, I ask that you maybe support me just so that we keep this going and we can talk about most things. I'm sure there'll be censored on certain things. And my husband, my son, my grandson, none of them are subscribed to me. I've asked them, a daughter-in-law included. I've asked, and they just don't answer. My husband just says no. And so I could use support from somebody because I'm not getting it from them. My immediate family is already deceased. I'm the last surviving member of both the adopted family and the real family. And so if you see me, if you want to talk about something, if you enjoyed what I already put through, please send it in the comments to me. I always have live chat on. And I'm usually half drunk by halftime. Just since we just had the Super Bowl. So peace out, everybody, and God bless.